time management. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks on how we can manage our time more effectively, do things like avoid procrastination, and just help structure our days better so we can be more successful. My name is Matthew Esau. I'm a learning strategist here at SATE. Um, my goal with these is to pass along some of the information that I've learned from meeting with students, especially students who are struggling or have different barriers to learning. And I would like to spread this information to everyone who is interested in hearing it. So let me share my screen and we will get started. Okay. So, as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about time management. Um, and why don't we just jump right into it? So as always, I have a few questions here that I would like to use to help us structure this discussion. The first is, how can we manage our time? What's the basics of time management? Number two, we're going to look at what are some good tools to help us manage our time, things like lists and calendars, um, other kind of online tools. I'll talk really briefly about some AI tools as well. Though if you're interested in using AI, most of that will be in the AI for studying seminar. I've already sent the recording out. We're doing another one later, but if you want the recording, send me an email. I'll send it to you. Third, we're going to be talking about some common challenges to time management. Uh, Chief among them is, what can I do to stop procrastinating? So we'll talk about all of those things and probably more. Okay. So to start with, I would like to do a little bit of an exercise to help us get a sense for how we uh, feel uh, our time. Everybody's a little bit different. If you've seen the study skills seminar, have heard me talk about chronotype a little bit. This is a little bit related to that, but mostly it's the way that we experience time and how it differs amongst everyone. So for the exercise, we are going to figure out how long a minute is. So basically, the way that this is going to work is I'm going to put a timer up on the screen. Um, when uh, when I say go, I would like you to close your eyes. Try to imagine how long a minute is without counting. And when you think a minute's passed, open your eyes, see how much time's left, see how close you were able to get. Um, okay, let's start. So you're going to close your eyes in three, two, one, go. Okay, so that was 1 minute. Um, if you still had your eyes closed, you might overestimate how long a minute is. If you opened your eyes before time was up, you likely underestimate how long something will take you. This isn't a scientific kind of test or anything like that, but it helps us kind of get a sense for how we conceive of this time. And so it's easy to lose track of time. Typically, when I do this in big groups, most students raise their hand between 30 seconds and 45 seconds. You'll get some students who raise their hand after 10 seconds. It's like so short. And other students, if you leave it going, they'll go a minute and a half at least before kind of feeling like a minute's been up. So all of that is to say as well uh, that it's important that we can kind of gauge how long something is going to take us. Um, think about all the time you've spent in school over your whole life. Now, imagine all the time that you've spent that you'll spend studying for the duration of your program. The amount of time that you can save by doing it just slightly more efficiently is staggering. So, yeah, let's talk about how we can do that. So, how can we start managing our time? There's a lot to consider uh, about the first step, which is planning. So uh, I'll run through a few steps, uh, starting with planning, moving into actually acting on our plan, and then we'll talk briefly about the importance of evaluating afterwards. But the bulk of time management is in planning our time. So this will be the longer section. So there's lots to understand about planning. Uh, you can kind of break it down into these four steps. So, setting goals, breaking down goals into tasks, prioritizing tasks, and scheduling tasks. A lot of this comes down to preference. Everybody's a bit different. So, experiment and figure out what works best for you. So, let's jump right into setting goals. How do we set goals? Why do we set goals? Setting goals are important because it gives you something to aim at and to make your motivations more explicit to you, more understandable. Sometimes our motivations aren't always really obvious, and so it can help to do some things to make sure that we can um, understand what our aims are. So you can kind of think about goals like um, imagine you're going on a trip, but you don't know what the destination is. You just start driving randomly. It can be fun. I've done this before. It's fun to just explore, and you might find some cool places, but you also can end up in a lot of boring places, places you don't want to be, maybe dangerous places. Having a destination, whether it's a short-term destination or a long-term destination, just makes creating plans a lot easier and gives you something to shoot for, to aim for. There are two types of goals, um, long-term goals and short-term goals. Long-term goals are far into the future, like more than a year, all the way up to lifetime kind of goals that we have. You could even think about, you know, planning to pass money on to your kids. It's even maybe past your lifetime. Short-term goals are more immediate, like this week, this month, this semester, maybe later this year, but not much more past that. So once you've decided what your goals are, you've got your destination, time to plan the route. Um, start by planning your long-term goals first, and then your short-term goals. Uh, a lot of times, your short-term goals lead directly into your long-term goals. Once you have your goals, uh, it can be very helpful to break them down into the little steps, the little tasks that you'll need to do to carry them out. Especially if some tasks seem really big, those are really important to break down. Even after you break it down, some subtasks might be even a little bit big still. You can break them down further. Like this diagram here at the bottom of the screen. Take your main goal, split it up into a few steps, and then maybe even split those steps into further steps. Make sure that they're doable. Um, uh, and if you are familiar with SMART goals, you can make them smart. I find most students are taught this in high school, so I don't talk about it specifically here. But if you're interested, Google Smart Goals, it's a way of making your goals more achievable by making them specific, measurable, action-oriented, time sensitive, and these sorts of things. So an example might be helpful here. If your goal is to apply for a certain program at SATE, which is something that if you're a SATE student already, you have done this. So you have a sense of what the process is like. Say I'm just starting out, I want to apply for a certain program. Uh, that's the goal. Now, what are the steps I need to do to achieve that? Maybe the first step is learn what the requirements are. Um, what are the admission guidelines? Do you need certain courses, certain grades? What kind of documents do you require? Once you have that information, maybe your next step is gather documents. Get everything together that you're going to need to submit. Fill out the form, might be the third step. Fourth step might be submit your application, and then cross your fingers, hope for the best. Um, and so this is kind of the idea. You take a big goal, like applying for a program, getting into SATE, and you break it down into the steps. If some of these are still big, you can break them down further, like perhaps the gathering documents. Maybe you need a bunch of different documents. Maybe you need to complete some career exploration or something like that. So break them down. Once you've broken them down, or as you're breaking them down, it can be helpful to do it on paper. So we have it to refer to, give us something to check off when we're done. And so using to-do lists is really helpful. Um, could be daily to-dos, weekly to-dos, to-dos for the whole semester, um, whatever you prefer. Lots of different formats for to-do lists. Try one uh, until you find one that works best for you. If it's something that you enjoy, it'll be easier to do. So if you're into art or something like that, you can make it, fancy and decorated, that sort of thing. You can make them really, really detailed with lots of features and places to like estimate time and things like that, or they can be really simple. Uh, Either one of these would be helpful, both in remembering everything to do, crossing it off, getting out of our heads onto paper, that sort of thing. So next step is prioritizing these. So we have our list of tasks that are leading into our goals. Prioritizing means ranking them by how important and urgent they are. Important means, what are the consequences by not doing them? And urgent is how long in the future do I need to have it done by to avoid those consequences? This helps you figure out which order to do them in, which ones to skip when you're short on time, or take into account things like when stuff's open or things of that nature. Like the to-do list, you can do this in a very detailed way. You can draw up an Eisenhower matrix and slot all your stuff in, or it can be very simple. A good place to start would be, what do I need to do first? What do I need to do next? What can wait till last? Or high, medium, low. How important is it that I do these things? You could rank them out of 5 stars or, whatever you'd like. Okay, so how can we turn uh, this information into something visual? Once you've gathered your list of tasks, decided which are the most important slash urgent, and you can put it into a format that'll help you follow it, help you imagine better what your time is going to look like. So, big one is calendars. We'll talk about two types that work really well for school. The first is a semester calendar. So this is a calendar of some kind, could be digital, could be on paper, where you can see the whole semester all at once. You don't want to flip pages or scroll through screens. You want to be able to see the whole semester at a glance. Um, there are lots of different formats for this, as I mentioned. You can get just some free printable ones online. If you just search free printable calendars, you can usually find one. Um, uh, if you have any trouble finding any, I do have some recommendations. Feel free to shoot me an email. Um, yes, uh, this is sort of one way of going about doing this, but make it your own. Um, I would recommend the first place you start is by just Googling SATE important dates. There's a page on sate.ca that will let you um, see all the important dates for the term. And so start with these, put these in. This calendar, you're not trying to put a ton of detail in. You're just marking it in a simple way so you can determine uh, what's happening. So, like, is it the start of class, at the end of class? You want to put things on like withdrawal deadlines and add drop deadlines and things like that. And then you add everything that counts for marks. So once you have your course schedule, you can start putting in due dates. The State Important Dates page is up early before the year even starts. So you can start with this even before you start classes to save yourself some time. And then, yeah, once you have your course schedules, you can add in deadlines and then add in any personal events that might occur, things like, travel or conferences or anything like that. So once you have all of this added, you have it in a simple way. Maybe it's color coded or stickers or little tiny notes or whatever it might be. Uh, the first thing to do with this is take a moment, look through it, and start picking out the patterns. So, like, what kind of things do you notice when you're looking at this? Certain patterns that I'm looking for the most are things like weeks with lots of deadlines. You have to start earlier working on those things to keep from getting overwhelmed or running out of time, things like that. Oftentimes, when you start getting clusters of deadlines like this, there's often a period of not a lot of things due immediately preceding it. So start plugging that in. We'll talk about another calendar to manage your kind of like day-to-day activities. After this, that's where you would start kind of doing those kinds of things. Other patterns are look for when you get two due dates right beside each other or multiple exams on the same day, things like that. This is where you're going to have to plan out your time a little bit better, but it's just also helpful to know what the whole semester is going to look like. Is January the tough month? Is March the tough month? Do you have lots of final exams uh, where it's going to be challenging to finish up strongly? Or is it all assignments and you can just kind of like go at your own pace? Lots of different options here. Okay, a few tips for using these. Put it somewhere where you're going to see it every day. If it's in a drawer and you never look at it, it's not super helpful. Keep it updated if things change. Sometimes instructors will change due dates or add or remove things. Try different ways of marking out your calendar. So again, you want it simple so you can see the patterns at a glance. You don't want a ton of details in here. So it's different ways of marking it, experiment. Keep it simple would be my recommendation, though if you want to make it super fancy and that's fun for you, go right ahead. Um, Something that you like the look of or you like working on will just be easier to maintain as a habit. Okay, so after you work on and complete your semester calendar, that's something that you can kind of do at the start of the term, and you can use that tool the rest of the term. Um, for more day-to-day kind of stuff, uh, a weekly calendar can be really helpful. So it's things like something that you can see the whole week at a glance, something that you can make lots of copies of, so you don't have to continually recreate it through the year. And so basically, some kind of template like this where you can see the days of the week broken down by time. Again, online, paper, doesn't really matter, whatever you prefer. But you want to be able to see the week at a glance typically. So you start with your fixed commitments. That is things that have to happen at a certain time, like when you need to be in class, when you have work, if you have to pick up your kids from school, if you are on a sports team and you have games or practices, things that you know when they're going to occur and they're fixed. You can't move them. And then you estimate how long it'll take to complete your tasks. I'll talk about this in just a moment. I have lots of tips on how to estimate task time. Um, and then you identify gaps. And so you look for all the blank spaces on your calendar outside of your fixed commitments, and you start slotting in, working backwards from the deadlines, slotting in activities into your schedule. Typically, how I do this when I was a student, the way I would do this is every Sunday evening or Monday morning, I would pull out a fresh one. Either when I did it, I used to make one at the start of the term and then make a bunch of photocopies. But of course, you can copy and paste digitally. You can do all sorts of things like that, whatever you prefer, and um, and work backwards from the deadlines to schedule your activities for each thing. There's going to be some things that are daily, like review, that you're going to want to try to get in the habit of doing every day. There's going to be other things that are not every day that are maybe just this week. Maybe you have an assignment or a midterm or something like that. And so that's the idea. So I'm going to go back to uh, the slides that are talking about figuring out how much time things take. So think back to how long a minute is. Did you put your hand up too early? The minute was a minute up before you raised your hand or opened your eyes? Was it right on time? Uh, start thinking about how you conceive of time a little bit, um, and start paying attention to how long it takes you to do things. There's no perfect formula. Sometimes you'll hear things like, you have to spend 3 hours outside of class for every hour in class. It just doesn't really work that way. There's lots of reasons why how long it takes to do something varies based on how well you know the concept or task, your experience with it, how detailed it is, like all these different kinds of things. Um, so again, there's no perfect formula. If you want to have something to kind of start with, estimate 1 hour for every 5% that it's worth. Um, but know that it's not always going to be consistently this, and just use this as a starting point. I would recommend something like start with this 1 hour till you have an assignment that's worth 10%. You assume it's going to take 2 hours. Uh, Pay attention to how long it actually took you. Did it take you an hour and a half? Did it take you 45 minutes? And start adjusting. So maybe for every 5% something's worth, you spend 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes on it. Start adjusting till you have something that works well for you. But with practice, you're going to just kind of know how long it's going to take. Um, One thing I didn't mention, but that's really important to note, is when you make these plans, you know that they're going to change. Plans rarely stay the same. Um, there's all sorts of famous quotes about, telling God your plans, or everyone has a plan till like they get hit in the face. That's a classic one. Um, and so, yeah, it's good to have a plan. Know that you're going to have to be a little bit flexible. Start with, a known amount and then adjust it until you have something that works for you. If you have larger assignments, it can be helpful to break those down into smaller steps. So if you have a essay to write, or let's say a group presentation, it can be helpful to schedule things, break it down into things like, pick a topic, get some resources from the library, start the PowerPoint, do 10 slides by this date, things like that. There are tools that can help with this. Seneca Polytechnic has a good one that can help create assignment plans. Just Google Seneca assignment planner, it'll come up. But this was created before AI became popular, and AI is really good at doing stuff like this. You put in the information about the assignment, You ask it how long it's going to take. It'll even learn more about you if you put information about how long it actually took. And yeah, really helpful, almost like having a personal assistant kind of help you with your calendar and plans and things like that. These kind of tools are great starting points, but they're not the you're the one who makes the final judgment call. Another tip is to not schedule 4-hour study sessions, but to rather break them down into smaller chunks with lots of little breaks. So the classic one is like 20, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, repeat that a few times, and then maybe take a longer break, something like that. There are timers out there that help do this exact thing where you don't have to input too much stuff. Pomofocus.io is one of them that a lot of students like. And basically, when you are calendaring your study sessions, it can be helpful to, do small chunks, change up subjects. I talk a lot about this in the study skills and memory seminars, so you can check those out. Okay, looked at this already. Okay, so after all this planning, what's next? What do we do next? Uh, the simple answer is stick to it. Of course, easier said than done, of course, but that is the goal, is to follow your plan, stick with it as best you can, with keeping in mind that you might need to adjust it. That no plan is sort of perfect. You're going to have to roll with it a little bit. You can um, also record your progress to help motivate and to help keep track. So cross things off your to-do list, X them off your calendar, that sort of stuff. And reward yourself when you've followed the plan the way you want to. Make sure that you're scheduling rest. Um, Breaks aren't a luxury. Breaks aren't being lazy. Breaks are super important to getting information into your long-term memory and to be able to access it later, like in an exam when you need it. Um, so make sure that you're scheduling rest within your calendar. So, what are some challenges to sticking with it? Um, One of the big ones is being realistic in your assumptions. So being realistic about what you can do in a day, what grades are achievable. You can't expect to get A plus in every single class, for example. Um, be realistic about what outcomes are likely based on the efforts that you're putting in. I work with lots of students who get really um, um, discouraged by not getting the grades they want uh, with minimal studying or while they're working 40 hours a week. And it's just not realistic. So it's okay to work 40 hours a week. Just know that it's going to be really hard to get A's. You might have to settle for B's or C's or something like that. You need to also be realistic about what size hamburgers you can eat. This guy is not being realistic about that. Um, So another thing to pay attention to is don't assume you can do something way faster now than you've done it in the past. Aim for small incremental improvements. Get 1 minute faster. Every week. You can't expect that you're into it once and then get 100% faster. And again, don't worry if you have to change plans on the fly. That's just how it goes. Okay. Uh, of all the challenges to sticking with it, procrastination, I would say, is the biggest one. Um, what is procrastination? Procrastination is when we put things off or do something other than the thing that we should be doing instead of doing the thing that we should be doing. Um, a big part of it is just getting started. Oftentimes, once we start, uh, we do just fine, but it's getting started that's really the main problem. It's not a moral failing. You're not a bad person if you procrastinate. Some people try to imply that it is. It's not the same as being lazy. Being lazy is very different. Um, a lot of people who procrastinate uh, do a lot of work. They just have trouble getting started. So this is not the same as being lazy. And so many people do it, especially students. If you survey people, 95% will admit that they procrastinate at least some of the time. And one in five admit to really chronic procrastination that causes them some degree of harm. Uh, this is up from 5% in the 70s. I'd be curious to see this information's about 15 years old. I'd be curious to see the latest research and to see if it's still on its way up or if it's plateaued. But lots of people end up doing this. Um, I have a few tips on avoiding procrastination, but I will say that if this is something that you struggle with a lot, and especially if it also bleeds into all the other aspects of your life, I would strongly suggest making an appointment with student development counseling. If you just Google counseling SATE, it's the first page that'll come up, and make an appointment with a counselor. They can help provide you with personalized strategies on how to deal with procrastination. A few ideas that I have that I often teach to students are that we often procrastinate when a big task seems really overwhelming. Um, this is a common cause, but not the only cause. Some people will imply that this is the main cause. I think that it's a little more deep-seated than that. But this is a big one. Uh, things seem really big, so start small. Um, break things down into smaller pieces. Focus on doing one doable thing after another, um, and keep breaking them down if you need to. Um, for me personally, uh, I usually start with the idea that uh, the most important thing to do when it comes to eliminating procrastination is to start paying attention to the excuses we give to ourselves when we procrastinate. So I'm a procrastinator as well. I used to be way worse. It's something I've improved quite a bit, but it still happens to me. And one of the ways that I helped improve this is by noticing what I was telling myself when I was procrastinating. So if I'm sitting on the couch, don't want to get started studying, uh, maybe I think to myself, oh, I really have to study for that exam. As soon as I start noticing, oh, I'm doing this again, I say, okay, what's the next thing that I'm thinking of? Is it that I'm not going to, I don't need to do it yet. I can wait till tomorrow. Is it that, oh, I'm tired, I should rest first? Like, what are the excuses that I give myself? And start to challenge those. If you say, oh, I'll just do it later, ask yourself, do I usually do it later or do I usually not do it later? Things like that. Other sort of tips are focus on why you're doing things. This is one of the reasons setting goals is important. Figure out why you're doing the thing that you're doing. So if your longer term goal is getting a really good job, um, and like buying a house or buying a nice car or like traveling or whatever it is, focus on those things when it's hard to get started studying for an exam. Tell yourself, I'm studying for the exam so I can go on that trip I want to go on, or so I can buy a house or whatever it might be. 5 minute rule is a good rule for kind of helping get started. This is where set a goal of just doing whatever it is that you're trying to avoid, but you only have to do it for a short, easily doable set amount of time. Let's say like 5 minutes. Usually you end up doing more than 5 minutes, but if not, you've done 5 minutes uh, and you're that much closer to finishing the task. It's amazing how much you could accomplish in 5 minutes every day or 10 minutes every day. So focus on the incremental improvement. Um, you can imagine someone, let's say like Michael Phelps, when he started out swimming, he didn't just jump into the swimming pool and swim record fast. He started out slow as a normal swimmer and learned to swim just a fraction of a second faster every week, every month, whatever it might be. And he's done this enough times until he's gotten to be world class fast at it. Small improvements that you do consistently give you really good results. It's really important. Um, Another one that I've started um, doing quite a bit is counting back down from five when I'm having trouble starting. So I'm sitting on the couch, I'm supposed to go study. Uh, I've noticed that I'm making excuses why I shouldn't start. And so I say, okay, I'm going to count down from five and I'm going to stand up. So five, four, three, two, one, you stand up, and it creates this sort of cascade or like domino effect of actions that start with something really simple, saying five, but leads to bigger actions in the end. I do this a lot in the morning when I'm having trouble getting out of bed. I'll hit snooze a couple times and then I'll say, oh, I have to get up. Okay, five, four, three, two, one. I sit up in bed. Five, four, three, two, one. I swing my legs to the side. Five, four, three, two, one. I stand up, something like that. It just reduces the barrier to starting. There's lots of other little tips about procrastination. Try Googling procrastination tips, you'll find a bunch. Um, but if it's a major problem for you, talk to counseling. They're the best resource. Okay, so we've stuck with it. We've planned, we followed our plan. What do we do now? Are we done? Um, no. The last step is to ask yourself, did my plan work? Ask yourself lots of questions about how it worked out. Did I get the results I wanted? Did I finish early? Did I finish late? Did I finish everything? Did I miss things? Did I forget to do some things? How was I feeling during that time? Was I relaxed, organized, or was I stressed to the max and caused me to procrastinate even more? Did I leave some free time for myself? Things like that. So ask yourself questions. Did it work? If it did, keep it up. Don't change it. If not, change it up. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Leave the good stuff in. Just change the things that aren't working. Awesome. So that is my overview of time management and how we can kind of manage our time better. We've looked at how we can manage our time by doing things like setting goals, creating to-do lists, creating calendars, splitting stuff up. We've talked about some specific tools like semester calendar, weekly calendar. Um, we've talked about some common challenges like being realistic and the big one, procrastination, and some things we can do to stop it, like noticing our excuses, challenging them, 5 minute rule, 5 second rule, all this kind of stuff, incremental change, and setting up good habits. Yeah, so if you have any questions, please do feel free to contact me. This is my email. You can shoot me an email anytime, and I can give you some, tips or help you set up an appointment or anything like that. If you've missed any of the other seminars and you would like to see them, uh, shoot me an email. I'll send you the recording link, and you can see it there. All right. Thanks, everyone. My name is Matthew Isa, learning strategist here at SAIT. Best of luck in all your studies and enjoy your time. Okay, bye now.